Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbana zidna ilma. Allahumma faqihna fid din. Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'a wa rizqan tayyiba wa amalan mutaqabbala. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. So here we are with our session number 7 for Surah Al-Hujurat. And for Quranic Arabic grammar, session number 282, in which we are going to do in-depth study of Nahw and Sarf of Surah Al-Hujurat. So we were, Alhamdulillah, up until ayah number 11. We were in the middle of doing ayah 11, and we stopped at min qawmin. So everyone, I must remind you of a fact that yes, we have covered advanced sifa. There are three types of advanced sifa that there are not three types of advanced sifa, there are three types of sifa. You can have a mufradism as a sifa, if you remember. You can have a sentence as a sifa, and then you can have shubhu jumla coming up as a sifa. But based on this ayah, when we saw qawmun min qawm, can every jar wal majroor be treated as sifa for a nakira ism? What do you think? Or you need to look at the context a little bit more. What have we learned from this part of the ayah when we were analyzing the first part of ayah number 11 of Surah Al-Hujurat? Yes, we have seen that not every jar wal majroor is going to be labeled as a sifa, because that may not make complete sense, right? We have to look and analyze things using common sense as well. And sometimes, there may be everything that fits grammatical ruling, but when it comes to the context, it does not make sense, and the context is going to always win. So in here as well, you are going to say min qawmin, you are going to treat it as jar wal majroor muta'alliq bil fail yasghar. I hope this is clear to each and every one of you, and you have learned how you can use a third person after la nahiya, and you can bring a third party, which in this case is qawmun. And I have done with you the other examples from Quran, like la yattakhizil mu'minuna, right? So there are other surahs that have very many examples where la nahiya came in not just before second person fi'l mudari, it can be seen before third person fi'l mudari as well. And if you go in your notes, you will find la nahiya, which is harf jazim. I may have put it there that this is for lil mutakallim, lil khitab, lil ghaib, right? I have classified it in our notes as that la nahiya can be lil khitab, la nahiya can be lil mutakallim, la nahiya can be lil ghaib. So in here, if I have to give it a full name, I can call this la nahiya as la nahiya lil ghaib, right? Because this is present before yaskhar, right? But technically, you do have someone present there. Qawm is there, which is acting as an outside file. So you have been able to put in qawmun after yaskhar. So this makes things a lot easier. This can be used for third party for bidding as well. So keep all those facts in mind, that it's not just the second person before which you are going to see la nahiya. And then this sentence, we have covered it as jumlatun jawabun nida. And every jawabun nida, if you remember, and you have done it so very many times, that now everyone must know it by heart, that this is going to be your sentence, which is la mahalla laha min al-i'rab, right? This is going to be la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. And then comes your word asa an yakunu khayram minhum. So when you see asa, when you see word asa, you know there's a new sentence that is starting with fail asa, because every fail is going to bring you a new sentence, right? Some af'al you have covered with me are going to be tam, and some af'al are going to be naqis, right? And sometimes when we are going to classify them based on the action, whether they have an action or not, you can classify any fail as tam or naqis. Most of the fail that you are doing here in the surah as well, like nasara, ja'ala, samiya, those kind of words, they are tam. But then we have covered af'al that are naqis. And what is missing in those afalu naqisa? Can anyone remind me? What do you not have in them which makes them naqis? What brings a nuqsan? So there is an ETP that you have been covering, that there has to be an action, there has to be a time or a tense, and along with a pronoun. There is no fail in Arabic that will lack a pronoun. Every fail in Arabic will have a pronoun, be it in a hidden form or in a visible form. It can be in a hidden form or a visible form, but you will have a pronoun, right? When it comes to a tense, every fail, regular fail is going to have a tense as well, like kana yakunu, right? You have a past tense form and you have a present tense form. Kada yakadu, present past is there, right? So similarly, so there is a time and tense, there is a pronoun which is with every fail, right? But afalu naqisa is missing an action, and that is a absolutely correct answer, right? And they need to have a khabar to make complete sense. Like he becomes is not going to give you a correct info or complete thought, right? It is an incomplete sentence which needs something in addition to he becomes or he is to convey a complete meaning, right? If I show you is and are, there is a tense there. Is a present, is are present tense, was were a past tense. These type of verbs, which are helping verbs in English, you can, they're kind of similar to afalu nakisa in that they do have a tense, but they don't have an action. Do you agree that am and am is am, are is am are, was and were, right? There is a tense there, however there is no action. So they're kind of, these helping verbs of English are kind of similar to afalu nakisa, but they are not exactly similar in the sense that is, are, am, was, were do not have a pronoun, right? Though they have there is a tense there, but there is not a pronoun there. So but in our falu nakasa, they do have a time and tense and pronoun. They just don't have an action, and they need a khabar to convey a complete thought. When we were covering our falu nakasa, I did go over with you how you can subdivide them into two types based on the khabar. If all of them have a khabar which is fail mudari, you put them under kada wa akhwatuha. If a fail naqis can have a khabar like a mufrad ism, shubu jumla or a jumla, then you classify it under kana wa akhwatuha. Do you all remember that classification? We have done it very many times in Surah Taha, and then we revised this type of classification with other surahs as well. So it's just, sometimes we tend to forget. So it's very important that we just don't rush through things, but we also understand things in depth, right? And then after this classification, if this is clear to each and every one of you, you did go over how your fail can be classified based on its surfability into three types, right? There are words, there are some going to sometimes change their form. They can be present in, they can have a past tense and present tense form, but they don't have any failul amr, right? There are af'al that are going to be fully flexible, right? Fully surfable, not flexible, fully surfable, right? And then there are af'al, you will only and only find them in the past tense form. They don't have a mudare, they don't have failul amr for them, right? So laysa, madama, dama, ni'ma, bi'sa, sa'a, all these you don't see any failul amr for them in Quran or Arabic, and also you do not see fail mudari for them. Do you all agree that jamid is going to be a fail that is always going to remain in the past tense form, will not have mudari, will not have failul amr? Keep that classification in mind as well, because this is very relevant to what we are going to do today. Okay, so asa, when it comes to asa, have you ever found a present tense form for this fail asa? Or did you ever find a filul amr for asa in Quran? No, you did not, right? You never have seen that. So asa is one of those af'al that is not only going to be can be classified as your fail jamid, but naqis, but jamid as well. Most of the time when we are teaching beginners, asa is asa is usually found under here. You will find asa in here with kada wa akhawatuha among afalu raja, right? So you find asa among nakis, right? What we are going to do today is, sometimes you will find that asa can be tam as well. Does it make sense? If a fail is tam, if a fail is, so let's just begin with fail nakis. When a fail is nakis, it lacks an action. Can it have a file? When there is no action, can there be a doer? There cannot be a doer, right? We all know that. That is why when you see kana Allahu ghafuran rahiman, you call lafzul jalala is marfu li ta'zim, ismu kana, right? You don't call it as, you don't label it as file, because there has to be an action for someone to do an action, right? Doer has to do an action. When there is no action, you cannot call an ism in marfu status after an incomplete fail as a file. For that, you label it as ismu fail naqis, right? You just label it as ismu fail naqis. When it comes to grammatical rulings for ismu fail naqis, it follows the ruling of ism file or naibul file. Do you all remember that? That its rulings, grammatical rulings that pertains to ismu kana or akhwatuha or kada wa akhwatuha, when they are naqis, is the same. However, they are no longer, when they are considered naqis, they are no longer going to be considered the ism that comes in rough status after these afal is going to be only labeled as ismu kana wa akhwatuha or ismu kada wa akhwatuha. So keep that in mind. But now what you are going to learn today is in terms of asa, and then this slide can be a little confusing for some of you and for myself as well. Somehow there may be some confusion there, but I will want you to focus on few things here. Okay, so I am going to tell you and what you see in Quran. Okay, so asa can be tam and it can be naqis. When something is considered tam, will it be able to take a file? What do you think? When a fail is considered tam, failu tam, it is going to always remember any fail tam is going to be able to take a file. Remember that, okay? So when you see asa and you see only damir mustatir, right? There is a asa in Quran and you find only damir mustatir. And it is just simply followed by masdarul muawwal starting with an. You can label that asa as fail tam, okay? And it is going to, when it is considered fail tam, you can label the masdarul muawwal that comes after it as file for asa fi mahalli raf'in. File for asa fi mahalli raf'in. Is this clear to all of you? That when you see asa and you have only the mir mustatir in asa, there is nothing in the sentence, nothing in the ayah which is ismu, which can be labeled as ismu asa. It is only followed by it is still it still will have that connotation, it still will have that meaning. Okay, it will still have that meaning, right? It is going to denote, the question is, does it still has raja, rest? Yes, it will still have meaning of perhaps. It still will have a meaning of hopefully. It will still has taraji in it. But the grammatically how you are going to analyze that asa is, when asa is there with damir mustatir and there is a masdarul muawwal, you label it as masdarul muawwal fi mahalli raf'in, file is, if that is clear to each and every one of you, type 1. Because if it is not clear, when we do see the next side, the second column on my left hand side, now I have asallahu an ya'fuwa anhum. It is maybe Allah forgive them. So in here, do you see any ism which is in rough form, and it is something that is other than damir mustatir? Damir mustatir in here, treat lafzul jalala as ismu asa, treat it as fail naqis, and in here, an ya'fuwa, when you have ismu asa, then do the next step. You have to look for khabru asa, and that is going to be masdar al muawwal, and it's going to become your fi mahalli nasbin khabru asa. The next example, very carefully look at this, and just by knowing this, it's going to, because in Quran, it's going to be very simple. You are not going to be dealing with a lot of complexities. So just stay with me and understand this, and this is going to be super duper easy for you, inshallah. When you see the next example, asallahu, the same thing is happening, an ya'tiya bil fath. So again, you are going to label lafzul jalala is as ismu asa, and masdarul muawwal an ya'tiya bil fathi aw amrin min indihi as khabru asa fi mahalli nasbin. Masdarul muawwal khabru asa fi mahalli nasbin, because khabar of asa or kada or kana or zalla or all of these afalu naqisa is always going to be nasbin status. That is why they are also called nawasikhul mubtada. They are also included in nawasikhul mubtada wal khabar, right? Then the next example, asa rabbukum an yuhlika uduwakum. So in here again, how will you label rabbu? Will it be labeled as fa'il asa, or will you label it as ismu asa? You are going to label it as ismu asa, and masdarul muawwal will become khabru asa. The next example, asa ulaika an yakunu min al-muhtadin. In here, do you treat it as naqis or tam? What is the labeling for ulaika? Can I call ulaika as ismu asa and an yakunu min al-muhtadin as khabru asa fi mahalli nasbin, and this is asa in here is going to be treated as fail naqis, right? Is this clear to all of you? Now if I show you here, focusing on this, if I show you here this example, I take you here, and okay, why not I just try to because I want everyone to understand this brief concept, this small concept, that this is how we are going to do it without complicating things further, because this is going to be good for our mental health, personally my mental health. So here, asaytum in kutiba ilaykumul kitalu. So here, how should you label asaytum in kutiba alaykumul kitalu? Should it be treated as tam or naqis? It is going to be labeled as, think about it, it's going to be labeled as naqis, number 1, right? In the classification, you're going to label it as naqis. In here, in asaytum, is damir mustatir? Is damir mustatir, or is it damir zahir? You have damir baris. It is baris. When damir is baris, zahir, how are you going to treat it? How are you going to label asa? Asa is going to be treated as naqis. You go to the left column. Don't go to right column. Don't treat it as tam. Okay. So ta is going to be, ta'ul fa'il is going to be now called ismu asa. It is going to be now called ismu asa. Mim is li jamai zakur, and then you have your this is in kutiba alaykumul qitalu is going to be labeled as whatever, but alla tuqatilu is going to be alla tuqatilu. When you see this one, an la nuqatila fi sabilillahi, an alla nuqatila fi sabilillahi, as this one, the one, sorry, no, alla tuqatilu is going to become your khabru, khabru asa, right? You have ism, then you look for khabar. Is this clear to all of you? An la tuqatilu, this is an la tuqatilu, which is going to be masdar al-mu'awwal fi mahalli nasbin khabru asa. Now comes this sentence. Now that we have something which you are not preparing before, in kutiba alaykumul qitalu, how will you label this sentence? How will you label this jumla shartiya? Very good job, very good job. How? So the answer, the correct answer is jumlatul itiradiyya. Why did you call it jumlatul itiradiyya? Give me one reason and I will give you a, and then give yourself a big pat on your back, because I'm not there. Why is it interjectory? Why is this called as in jumlatul itiradiyya? What is one thing? Very good job, Shaheen. Very well done. When something is present between two grammatically related structures. Now, think about it. Is this present between two grammatically related structures जो ग्रामर के लिहाज से एक दूसरे से जुड़े हुए हैं? ये इनके दरमियान में आया ना, यानी कि इस्मु असा था, तो ता जो थी, ताउल खिताब जो थी आपकी इस्मु असा थी, अल्लाह तुकातिलु इज योर खबरू असा. So it came in between two grammatically related structures. So that is why you call this jumla shartiya, as you label it as jumlatul itiradiyya. Very good job. And anytime you see jumlatul itiradiyya, what will be the labeling for that kind of a sentence? It's la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. So it does things make sense that how you are going to find your asa and you're going to treat it accordingly, right? You will be able to identify it based on what you have been taught today, that is it naqis or is it going to be labeled as tam. Alhamdulillah, will you be able to identify? How many of you are confident about how to label asa now? Alhamdulillah, everyone is able to. So this one example we have already covered, so we don't need to be worried about this one. We can, so this one is on your slide. Asa an takrahu shay'an. So asa an takrahu shay'an. You are seeing only as damir mustatir. Label it as tam, and label now masdar al-muawwal as fi mahalli raf'in fa'il. في محل رفع فاعل. Easy. In your test, I can give you this question. This can be a part of your test question for Surah Al-Hujurat, that masdar al-muawwal after asa is always fi mahalli nasbin. True or false? What will be the answer to that? True or false? False. Masdar al-muawwal is going to be fi mahalli raf'in if asa is tam, and it only has damir mustatir, which means that it only has damir mustatir. Masdar al-muawwal is going to be fi mahalli nasbin khabar. It can be fi mahalli nasbin khabar if there is asa which is naqis, as in case of asallahu an ya'fuwa anhum. Is this clear? Alhamdulillah. So now let's look at this one. Asa. This asa, you call it fail madin. Is it fail madin? Everyone? How many of you will label it as madin? Number one, fail madin. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Fail madin. Fail madin is mabni always, right? And this is mabni al fatatul muqaddar lit ta'azzur, because it is ending at alif, so it is mabni al fatah and muqaddar, because this is alif. Alif is always going to be written sakin diamond, right? It is always written sakin, but it can take harakat. It can take taqdiri i'rab. So in here it is mabni al fatah tul muqaddar. Then comes your asa. there is the damir mustatir followed only and only by masdarul muawwal. So an harf masdariya, right? And harf nasib as well. Yakunu, yakunu is going to be, how do you label yakunu? Fail mudari, naqis, mansoob, بحذف النون لأنه من الأفعال الخمسة, because it is from أفعال الخمسة. So these أفعال show you their nasb status by dropping their noon. This is fail naqis. Waw is going to be called damir muttasil baris, ismu kana, ismu yakunu, right? And then after you have figured out ismu yakunu, look for khabru yakunu, and this is going to be khairan. Then comes your minhum, jar wal majroor, mutaalliq bil khabar. Easy. Don't complicate things. Don't label everything as, there is something like a common ism followed by jar wal majroor as a mawsuf sifa. Just you label it as this one as your mutaalliq bil khabar. Okay. Now this entire masdarul muawwal is going to be fi mahalli. How will you label it? You are going to call asa fail madin jamid tam. Fail madin jamid tam. Three things. Just like I make you do Anna and I ask you everything about Anna. Give me everything possible. I'm going to be doing the same practice with Asa. Okay, remember that. I'm not going to change my practice. I'm going to make you revise stuff. Just so that it's all, you are perfect in that. Okay, because you have to teach. If you are not well equipped beforehand, it's not going to be good for you all. There is going to be a lot of repetition, because the concepts that you have covered so far, they are mushkil concepts. They're not that easy. So it's very important that we do the entire revision. And Sister Shamim, as always, has given you the entire information in Arabic. Fail madin jamid tam mabni al fatat al muqaddar lit ta'azzur, because when there is an alif at the end, you say that this is just for the ta'azzur. For uzr, you have this fatatul muqaddar. Okay, so label it as, the important thing is madin jamid tam. This all should make complete sense in your brains. Okay, everything should make complete sense in your mind. Okay, is this clear? So now you have this masrul muawwal as fi mahalli rafin. This sentence, yakunu khayram minhum, what will be the labeling for this one part? Yakunu khayram minhum. Removing an, this sentence is considered, this sentence which is sila of an. Sila of an is going to, sila harfi is going to be, think about it, Diba. Sila of harf is going to be, or ism. Sila is always la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. So is going to be this yakunu khayram minhum. And this we have practiced this very many times for a reason. Okay, because I like you all to understand these concepts. Now comes wala nisaun. I'm going to go take you back to asa sentence, but I want you to go to the next part, which is wala nisaun. Waw is going to be labeled as atf. La is going to be labeled as la nafiya or nahiya. Oh, nahiya. Shamim. Sister Shamim, is it nahiya? Think about it. And why is there, why there are two firqa bandi? I don't like firqas. I don't. I'm not into firqas. I want to unite people. This la, come to unity on this la. This la is la nafiya with la nahiya. Now you have put yourself in difficulty. You are the ones who have labeled it as nahiya. So I'm going to, if it is a typo, that's okay. Okay, if it is a typo, la nahiya is always going to be present before mudare majzoom. You will always find mudare after la nahiya. Will you ever find an ism after la nahiya? Can there be a possibility of an ism? Can there ever be an ism after la nahiya? The la that does nahi, that is talbiya lin nahi, Can it be ever followed by an ism? Never, right? It's not going to be followed by an ism. So now that you know, this la is la nafiya. This la is your la nafiya. What is the type of la nafiya? Because la nafiya, you have covered very many types of la nafiya, if you remember correctly. This la, yes, so there is a takrar in it. So Shaheen, Sister Zarina, what is the exact name? Did you already write it? Give me the exact name for this la. I want Zaida litokidin nafi. Very good job. Why are we calling it la Zaida litokidin nafi? Let's look at it. La Zaida litokidin nafi is preceded by kalam manfi. Is this preceded by kalam manfi? What do you think? La yaskhar? La yaskhar? There is manfi. It is la nafia zaida litokidin nafi is preceded by waw. Look at here. There is a waw before la. Do you all agree? After la yaskhar wala nisaun, right? So la is followed. La is preceded by waw. La is preceded by nafi. Two conditions met. We are happy and pleased. In this case, there will be an ism matuf ala ism or shubhu jumla matuf ala shubhu jumla. Does that is this la meeting that condition too? For Shabi, everyone, right? There is going to be an ism, you mufrid ism or shubhu jumla. This one is mufrid ism. Nisaun is a mufrid ism. Every condition met, right? Every condition is met here. So this la, call it la nafiya li tokidin nafi. Okay. So it is going to be some, and there may be a confusion. There may be a confusion that you are seeing the first la is la nahiya. But it can also be after la nahiya too. Remember that. You may find it after la nahiya too. And in that case, you can still call it la nafiya li tokidin nafi. Okay, or litokidin nahi, you can, if you want to further, do it like that. That can be, that will be considered the correct way to do it as well. Okay, is this clear to all of you? Is this la nisaun matuf ala qaumun? Absolutely correct. So I was going to ask you, what is matuf alayhi for nisaun? Everyone, what is the matuf alayhi for nisaun? Qaumun. Qaumun is the matuf alayhi for nisa. Is this clear? Right? So, and then min nisa'in is going to be your muta'alliq bil fail. You just, just like you did min qaumin. Okay? Why are we saying la zaida? Why we say la zaida? Why do we say this la zaida? This one? Sister Diba, does it not make sense that you are making it matuf in here la yasma'una fiha lagwan wala ta'thiman? Because no la before qaum. There is a negation, there is a forbidding before qaumun. This la yaskhar qaumun. There is a forbidding, as I mentioned, that you may find forbidding before it as well. Some may, label la that is following a forbidding as la nafiya li tokidin nafi too. Though there is in here forbidding before that, but sometimes you can still label la as zaida li tokidin nafi, though we are not doing the tokid of nafi, we are doing tokid of nahi here. But this can still be labeled as la zaida li tokid. Okay? I hope this makes sense and you are able to connect this to whatever has been mentioned before, because it is very important that you connect it to whatever has been mentioned before, and how you connect it is very important as well. If there is no wow before it, can you still call it la zaida li tokid? Very good, Sean. if it is to be la atifa, if it is to be la atifa, that la atifa, will it also have wow before? Very good job. It will not have wow before. La atifa, which is compared to la zaida, unlike la zaida, nafia, la ul atifa is going to be the connector itself. It does not need help from wow al atifa. The number two thing is, when this is present, it is preceded by kalam musbat. It is going to be preceded by kalam musbat. Okay? So in here, akala, it is similar to zaida in some sense, and it is different. It is different from la zaida in other sense. So look at the slide very carefully. This la atifa, if it was la al atifa, it is going to be number one preceded by positive kalam. It's not going to be kalam manfi. It's not going to be kalam manfi, or there is no negation or forbidding before it. No wow before la al atifa. Okay. It affirms what is before it and negates what is after it. Okay. So when you see la ta'khuzuhu sinatun wala nawm, neither drowsiness overtakes him nor sleep. Both don't overtake Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He does not sleep, he does not get drowsy, right? He's above all, right? But when here you see akala zaidun la muhammadun, Zaid ate, but Muhammad did not eat. So did it this before this la? Was there any nafi before? What do you think? No, right? So al-mu'minun qawiyun la da'ifun. Mu'min, believer, is strong, not weak. So la da'ifun, la is going to be atifa. Its matuf is qawi. In here, Muhammadun is ma'tuf. Its ma'tuf alayhi is Zaid, right? These two words are connected through the la. It is connector itself. There is no wow, and it is, however, preceded by kalam musbat. Kalam musbat. There is a positive statement before it, but there is whatever is after, whatever is matuf, it is going to be negating the whatever has been mentioned before for the matuf, if that makes sense. Affirms what is before it and negates what is after it. So Muhammad did not eat. Zaid ate, but Muhammad did not eat. Believer is strong, not weak. I hope this is clear to all of you. There are some conditions, it is also going to be, there is going to be matuf, which is going to be ism or shubu jumla. The same thing is going to be there. Okay. It is going to be only and only ism and shubu jumla after lal atifa as well. However, the conditions are different in the sense that lal atifa is preceded by kalam musbat. There is no wow before lal atifa. It does not make things even more negative. No, when you see here, a nation should not ridicule another nation, and nor a woman another woman. Why is it, emphasizing the previous statement as well, and is also bringing another sect among the nation to, and saying that, because women are very prone to that, and not I don't want to have any sexual bias here, but it is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made his creation with weaknesses and strengths, right? The patience of a mother, but at the same time, how patient women are sometimes with things, but sometimes there are some weaknesses in us that, we cannot control our tongue, and we get sucked into these you know negative things, and it's very easy to slip, right? So that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is super duper emphasizing that not only a qawm should ridicule a qawm, but women especially should not ridicule other women, right? So you see how much emphasis is there in the sentence when you look at it, when you know not only the grammatical aspect, but also based on the context. How it is emphasizing, it is not, there's no mention of men because they don't do it as often, probably. um, and women are more prone to such voices. So may Allah protect us all, and may we learn the lesson now that we have learned Surah Al-Hujurat. Okay, so now when you have, when you are labeling it, this vow as vow atf, and there is a complete sentence on its own in between, something matuf alayhi and matuf, what should you label this sentence as? How can you label it, this sentence? What do you think? How will you label it? This asa an yakunu khayran minhum. Etorad, very good job. Etoradiya, very good job. You may have found in some of the books this sentence as labeled as ta'liliya. Did you see that? That some places it may have been written as ta'liliya, right? Saying the reason for why people should not ridicule each other. One nation should not ridicule another nation because maybe perhaps they are better than them, right? Right, so there is a possibility for that too. There is a possibility for that too, because people have spent their entire lives, because when you are learning Quran, it is a miracle and message in one, right? So this is a speech of Allah, not a human being. So when you are reading a miracle, you will, there are 100 ways to think about things, right? And people have spent their lives on doing these Arabs and learning Arabic language. So both ways, it does make complete sense, right? Either way, it is going to be la mahalla laha min al-i'rab, because your jumlatul ta'liliya, your jumlatul i'tiradiya, both are la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. Very good job. And then again, there is another one coming after this one. Wala nisa'un min nisa'in asa an yakunna khayran minhunna. So now asa again is going to be, since there is only the damir mustatir, right? It is fi'l madin jamid, fi'l madin jamid tam, and an yakunna khayran minhunna is going to be masdarul muawwal fi mahali raf'in ismu asa. Same as before. Very good job. Very good job. You go in there and you label it as an masdariya. Yakunna is going to be mudare mansoob, right? And this one is, what type of a mudare is this? What type of a mudare is this? In terms of flexibility, my question is in terms of, this is nakis, very good job, very good job. And in terms of flexibility, it is mabni, very good job. What are the two noons? What are the two noons that can make mudare mabni? I have taught you mudare as mu'arrab, but what two noons can make your mudare mabni? One is noonun niswa, is nunun niswa, and the other one is, there is another one too. When you have la yahsabanna, nunu tawkid, very good job, very good job. Your nunu tawkid, your nunu tawkid and nunu niswa, write it in somewhere, because it not every time, but you can have mudare non-flexible. Your two noons that can make mudare non-flexible mabni are nunun niswa, like in case of yansurna, tansurna, the nunun niswa, and the other one is nunu tawkid. Okay, keep that in mind, inshallah. Okay, so yakunna, in here, the nunu niswa, that is a part of yakunna, is going to be ismu yakunna, because this fail mudare is mabni. This fail mudare is nakis, and noon is going to be ismu yakunna, and khayran is going to be khabru yakunna, and minhunna is going to be jar wal majroor muta'alliq bil khabar. And in here, the noon mushaddad, can anyone remind me of the name of this noon? What was the name of this noon? Anyone? You all have been writing Arab very well, tabarakallahu. So is it Noonun Niswa or there is Noon li Jama'il Inas? Very good job. Noon li Jama'il Inas. Fashabi Shimeen, very good job. It is Noon li Jama'il Inas. How is it different from Noonun Niswa? Noonun Niswa is a pronoun. Noonul Inas, Noon li Jama'il Inas is a harf, right? Very good job. Very good job. Noon, that is this one, min hunna, this noon is a harf. It is just to denote that this is a noon for there for feminine plural, denoting feminine plural after haul ghaib. It can be seen after taul file. Nasar tunna, it can be seen after kaful khitab, as in word kunna, right? So this noon, li jamail inas, is a harf. But this one, yakunna, noonun niswa, the first noon of the second noon of yakunna is noon, which is damir muttasil baris, right? And any damir, any ism is going to have a Arab, right? And in here it is ismu kana, right? And it is fi muhalli raf'in, right? But when noon is there, it is la mahalla laha min al i'rab, like all la mahalla lahu min al i'rab, because it's a harf, right? Everyone with me, or there is a confusion? Alhamdulillah, everyone got it. Okay, so now wala talmizu, wow. How do you want to label this wow? Wow can be labeled as your harf atf. La is going to be nahiya. This one you can call it la nahiya, right? La nahiya lil khitab. And talmizu is going to be talmizu mudare madzum bihasfin noon, right? لأنه من الأفعال الخمسة. And wow in here is going to be wawil jama'a, and this is damir muttasil baris. And in here it is fi muhalli raf'in, because it is file for fail. Talmizu, after fail and file, look for something, anfusa, and you all do not insult one another, right? And this one, maf'ulun bihi, this is going to be an anfusa, is your maf'ulun bihi. Kaf is going to be kaful khitab, majroor bil idafa, right? Kaful khitab is going to be majroor bil idafa, and meme is again your harf, and this is for li jamai zukur, just like noon li jamai linas. Mimul jama is li jamai zukur. It tells you about your masculine plural. I hope this was clear to all of you. Your wow again can be labeled as atf. La nahiya lil khitab, tanabazu mudare madzum bihasfin noon, and wow is damir muttasil, right? And fi muhalli raf'in fa'il. So after fail and file, we are seeing jar wal majroor bil alqab. So jar wal majroor in here, muta'alliq bil fail. Good job. You can label it as muta'alliq bil fail. Tanabazu. Very good job. Everyone with me so far? Everything is clear to all of you? So when this comes, when you have this sentence, how will you want to label this sentence? Can we label it the same way? The whole sentence, asa an yakunna khayram minhunna. The same way that we have labeled the first sentence, asa an yakunu khayram minhum, right? If we are calling this wow as wow atf, can we label everything the same as we have done before, that there can be two ways? Can you also call that this can be your jumla ta'aliliya, that why should women not ridicule another woman? Because perhaps they are better than them, right? Those women that they are ridiculing, they may be better than them, and usually they are, and that is why, it's I think low self-esteem that makes us do things that we should never do. But may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all and guide through us all, inshallah, many. So now you can call it ta'liliya. You can also consider it um, um, Etradiya, right? Etrad can also be the possibility. And in both ways, if you call it etrad, you call it ta'lil, both sentences, both type of sentences are la mahalla laha min al-i'rab. Okay. Now comes a very interesting part of the ayah. Bi'sa lismul fusuq ba'dal iman. So bi'sa, when you look at word bi'sa, what type of a word is this? Very good job. Aisha is on it. So this is a falul from filul zam. This is from filul zam. It is fil madin. It is fil jamid. Very good job. That this is not just fil madin. It is jamid. Li insha zam. Right? Its purpose is to create zam, to blame someone. Right? It is for the purpose of blaming. Right? Zam is to blame someone. Among the afalul madh was zam. This is from the zam category, right? From zam category. So afalul madh was zam are of two types. There is nima bisa sa'a, and then there is habbaza la habbaza. And for madh we have ni'ma, habbaza. For zam you have bisa, sa'a, la habbaza, right? And all these af'al, as you can see on my slide, are going to be jamid, right? They are jamid. And so is this one. After bisa, you are seeing al-ismu. There is a fail, and then comes there an ism in rough form. How will you label it? You can call it file. Very good job. Very well done. So remember, when it comes to aslubul madh was zam, aslubul madh was zam, there are three components in it. Okay, there are three components in it. There is going to be failul madh, there is going to be a file, and there is going to be makhsus. Do you all remember that? If you don't remember that, that's totally fine. You have it in your slide, Shaheen. You're on top of your game. You're on your A game. But for myself and rest of us, it is very important that we just remember that there are three parts to it. There can be a failul madh or failul zam. There is going to be a file, and there is going to be makhsus. So when it comes to the rulings, all these af'al are jamid, which means there is no fail mudari, no amr for them. All of them are lazim. What does it mean? What is no MB? What is meant by no MB on my slide? When fail is lazim, it means it's not going to take any mafulun bihi. So if you see anything after these af'al in nasb form, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind that is going to be labeled as tamyiz? Very, very well done. Very, very good job. So if you find anything after these af'al in the same sentences started by these af'alul madh wazam, which is nasb status, think about tamyiz. Okay, tamyiz is the answer. It's not going to be ever labeled as mafulun bihi, because these af'al cannot take mafulun bihi. They can have ta'u tanis if file is feminine. The ta may be eliminated. Ta may be there, ta may not be there. Okay, ta'u tanis may be there. So there is a possibility for sa'at. You have seen that, but there is possibility that nema or bi'sa has a gender mismatch with their file, because it is, why so? Because there is a permissibility for gender mismatch. I hope I made myself very clear, and you all will remember these 4 points by heart, that these afal are jamid, lazim, 3 points, sorry, and there can be a gender mismatch between fail and the file, because this is going to be coming in Quran, and this is going to be helpful. When it comes to the file of nema and bi'sa, it can take one of the 4 forms that you can see on my slide. Either it's going to be ism mu'arraf bil lam, it can be ism mu'arraf bil idafa, it can be damir mustatir, and it can be ism mawsul. Is this clear to all of you? In all 4 cases, what did you notice? One thing was common. In all the cases, you notice that the file of nema or bisa is pretty much marifa, right? It is going to be either mu'arraf bil lam, mu'arraf bil idafa, or damir mustatir, or damir or ism mawsul. So in here, when you look at bisa lismu or bisa alismu, what type of file do you have? It is mu'arraf bil lam. So the first It is among the 4 types of file, it is the first type. I hope you are all clear on that. The next thing is what happens to the thing. That there are 3 things, right? Was a failul zam or failul mad, then there is a file, and then there is the third part, which is al makhsus, which is either praised or condemned. There is an entity which is praised or condemned. So when it is present, al makhsus, just quickly look at the rulings in pertaining to that. When the makhsus is present after failul mad or zam, there are 2 ways how you can label it. It can be labeled as mubtada, and its khabar is going to be a sentence which is introduced by nema or bisa. Okay, most of the times you are going to see it labeled like that. Okay, so do you think we have al makhsus for our ayah? Is there any makhsus for the ayah that we are doing right now? Al fusuq, very good job. Al fusuq is going to be labeled as al makhsus, right? You notice it is present after bisa lismul fusuk. It is not in the beginning, right? It is not al fusuku bisa lismu. It is not like that. So in here, what is the one way I just told you how you can label this sentence? You can label this as mubtada muakhar. Al makhsus in here can be mubtada muakhar, and bisa lismu can be labeled as khabar muqaddam fi muhalli raf'in, right? It can be khabar muqaddam fi muhalli raf'in. It can also be labeled as khabar of mubtada mahzuf wujuban. There is another way how grammarians treat things. So in here, when makhsus is after the nema or bisa, after nema bisa sentence, when makhsus you find it as at the end you can consider it as a khabar of mubtada mahzuf wujuban. So what will be the mahzuf mubtada in here? What can you bring in as mubtada for al-fusuku? You can use a pronoun. That's a hint. Huwal fusuku. Very good job. It can be labeled as huwal fusuku. How bad is the name? How bad is the name? It is corruption. So this is it. It is total how you al fusuk. Let me see how they have done it. I'm blanking on how they are treating this as disobedience, or just not disobedience, a very bad form of disobedience when it comes to fusuk. So wretched is the name of disobedience. So disobedience is, it's a very polite way of saying naming corruption. However, this is huwal fusuku is in that case a sentence which is in here, when you consider a mubtada, it is a khabar of mubtada mahzuf, then you consider huwa as mahzuf, and al fusuku is going to be the khabar of that mubtada that has been omitted. Okay, ba'dal imani, ba'da is your zarf, right? Is your zarf, and it is mansub, and al imani is your mudaf ilayhi for that. And this badal imani is going to be, how will you label it? Can you label it as muta'alliq bil fail? Can we just label it as muta'alliq bil fail? Right? Very good job. And this is how I will like you to do. When it comes to makhsus, remember, makhsus, when it comes to the ahkam of makhsus, you will notice it can be either ism, proper ism, or it can be nakira mukhassasa. What does it mean? Nakira mukhassasa. Who remembers what is nakira mukhassasa? What type of a word is nakira mukhassasa? Common but specific. No, mukhassasa. Mukhassas, it can have a mudaf ilayhi. Think about it. Nakira mukhassasa means that it can be a word that is either a mudaf or a mawsuf, right? It is not a pure common. It is not a pure common. Remember that. Nakira mukhassasa is common but specified. For example, when I see amatun mu'minatun. Amatun means slave. Mu'minatun means believing. A believer. So in come amatun mu'minatun becomes believing slave woman. So is a slave now any slave, or we are talking about a slave with iman? What do you think when we say amatum mu'minatun? It is now khas. It is now specified, has been specified by a sifa. So it is no longer a pure nakira. It is no longer a pure nakira. It is a nakira mukhassasa. So makhsus can be either a proper ism or nakira mukhassasa. Remember that. If the file of Nema Bisa is an apparent noun, ism zahir, it must be after the fi'l in the file. So where is the position of my al-fusuq? When I look at the ayah, al-makhsus, is it after the file and the fi'l? What do you think? Yes, it is, right? It is after the fi'l and the file here. Okay. So in case and this one, maybe there may be why is it fi mahali raf? No, al fusuku is raf with damatu zahir. Oh, no, you're talking about the sentence. So huwal fusuku, there is a proper ism before it. Huwal fusuku, and this we have covered it before. Remember, we have covered it before, that if it is bi'sa lismu huwal fusuku, how can we connect huwal fusuku sentence with the rest of the thing? It can be labeled as hal. It can be labeled as a hal of lismu. Is this clear? Is this clear? Huwal fusuku can be jumla, that can be jumla haliya fi mahalli nasbin hal for lismu, which is a proper ism. Okay. And this is how we have done. If you go back to the recordings of this concept, falud mad wazam, this is how we have covered it in the past. Then if the file is the damir mustatir followed by tamyiz, then makhsus should occur after tamyiz. So in here, ni'ma qawmal muslimuna, how good is a nation, al-Muslimuna, the those who surrender, or Muslims. So in here, al-Muslimuna is al-Makhsus. So al-Makhsus is coming after Qawman, which is the tamyiz for Ni'ma, right? You notice? Then if it is file is the Mir Mustatir, in here Ni'ma, the file is the Mir Mustatir Hua, and Qawman is the tamyiz, and al-Muslimuna is Makhsus, and it is coming after the tamyiz of the sentence, right? I hope this is clear to all of you. And then if the thing is other way, when present before al-falul madh wazam, al-makhsus is going to be simply labeled as mubtada, and its khabar is going to be the ni'ma bisa. Okay. um Oh, I'm so sorry. I've taken 6 more minutes. My apologies. I did not realize that the time. So subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So let me just end the recording here. One second.